Today we're looking at an Exmark Commercial 21-inch walk-behind mower. These things are not very common. A lot of landscaping guys use them, a lot of landscaping guys don't. They have their place. They're somewhat of unicorns. They really don't show up all the time, and so when they do, it's always kind of like, whoa, especially if they're for a good price. When I got there, the husband came out, bless his heart, he knew not a whole lot about how things work. First thing, he called the oil filter the oil auxiliary chamber, or he had something like that, and I was like, okay, that's not what that's called. The bail lever did not do anything. You could just start it up, which is a problem because there's a brake and there's a ground in there, so there's like a two-part safety thing. I tried to talk him down. I think I offered him 120 when I got there, and he said, no, dude, I know what I have. There's like 52 other people that are waiting for it. So it's 150 bucks. It'll probably sell at this time of year. We are coming right up into April. It'll probably sell for between as low as $300, probably as high as $500. These little things are relatively desirable. This commercial equipment really has a high price tag on it for some reason. So the only other thing wrong with it seems to be some major cosmetic thing where it looks like it got just T-boned or fell off a landscape trailer or something, and it got pretty smashed. So without further ado, let's just tear right into it. I'll show you what that oil looks like. He said he just changed it. I did check it. He said he used that like Exmark, like blue stuff. It's kind of like just above that add line. Pop that air filter off. I'll show you that. It doesn't look very bad. A little bit dusty, but other than that, nothing major. So I'm gonna pop this air intake bracket, I think, off. I think that should just slide right off. Yeah, I feel like there's no gasket right there. I feel like there should be a gasket. Okay, so here's kind of the workings of what's going on with this ground wire. So when I pull this bail lever back, it doesn't quite go back all the way. So whoever was in there, just kind of pried that thing up so that way it didn't touch it, and then, they had to ground it out in order to kill it. Underneath that metal piece, if you see how that bar kind of dips down? So I don't think it has to swing all the way out to lose contact just because there's that little divot in there. Either trim it down or, just kind of generally play with it just for a couple minutes. I want to see what I can do just because that's not the way that it's supposed to be. Okay, see how that kind of ramps up? I'm going to straighten that out because as is right now, it's not making contact. It's, if this is the arm, it's above the arm, even when the arm swings. And it's supposed to touch it, and then the arm swings out of the way, and that's what lets off. And then when the arm swings back, it grounds. So right now, it's not even touching it, so it has to be bent down or crimped back down or whatever. So let me mess with that for just a second. It's just a shade better. The more I pull that bail lever, the more that right there, that screw going down holding it in, this brake, I believe this is, it's like a little pad that when you let off of the lever, it'll hit that flywheel just to stop that brake. I don't know, every time I do it, I see this doesn't want to pivot, it wants to kink. So I'm going to take this shroud housing off. It looks like it's just held on by a couple bolts. I just want to pop that up and look underneath and see if there's anything funky happening in there. Maybe something just came loose, Running out of juice there. So that's the brake right there. That brake pad is supposed to be relatively, even, just like brake pads on a car. You see there's meat on that side and no meat on that side. Is this still 10 millimeter? Heck yeah, it is. Okay.
let's get that off. Let's see what's going on in there. There's the issue. Just like playing a game in my head, like how much does Kawasaki want for this piece? Let me just highlight this for a second. So this is how much that is supposed to be removed from it, right? So that's the, you know, somewhere in there is the resting piece, and then it should spring all the way back to right there. Obviously it doesn't spring back, I have to move it back, but you know, that's where it should be. And then that little divot that we saw earlier gives it that entrance, you know, back into grounding it. Gosh, I wonder how does that even happen? Let me think for a second. How does that even, what goes on in an engine? And that flywheel actually looks okay. I mean, I know that's pretty common in cars. So the blade gets stopped by this brake, this rotates, and this directly influences, if you watch, in its resting position is on the brake, right? Just off camera, my thumb is gonna pull it the same way you'd pull the brake bail, right? And then focus your attention right here. So you're gonna, it's gonna get pulled, and then that's gonna swing right that way, and it takes that off. So it's doing two things. It's taking the brake off, and it's also disconnecting this ground. So that's what lets the engine run. Then when you let off, right, it grounds and it brakes at the same time. And that's just a safety thing. This is a mechanic thing, that's just a safety thing. It just stops the blade from spinning. So this, in its natural position, is held on here via this spring that goes in there. I really don't feel like putting this on because this is a very tight spring, but if you notice, when, you know, it doesn't have a natural position, so this spring holds it on, you kind of pry it open. I'm gonna need to get a new brake piece. Hopefully that's all it needs. There's just a lot of rust in there too. I mean, who knows, part of the reason why it started to fail in the first place could have been due to some things just getting held up by rust, stuck, whatever. Got the mower down off the thing. There's a couple things that we can do while we wait for that part. I gotta go inside and order it. Hopefully it's, you know, I can get it within a couple days. If you see, that's straight, and this has suffered a pretty significant bow. I don't know what happened, if it got thrown or fell off a landscape trailer or something. If you notice too right there, this mulch cover actually won't open. And that is majorly bowed out. That's supposed to be flush with that frame right there. By flush, I mean, you know, somewhat even. Kind of starts off maybe an inch off of it and ends on it, whereas the other one goes wow, and it kind of bows way out. Purely cosmetic. I'm hesitant to take a torch to it just because I don't want to do anything too major. I just want to soften the metal a little bit with a teeny tiny bit of heat, and then you know, I got a dead blow hammer. I just want to very delicately tap on it as much as I can without doing too much damage. Just go hard on it for a couple minutes and we'll see what we can do. That is almost 100,000 times better. Well, the true telltale will be if we can open this. Ha! Be a little bit more delicate with that, and we'll just kind of tap that one down too. Again, is it perfect? No. Did it do a lot of good? And is it basically back to normal? Yes. So I'm gonna get that part ordered. I did grab a primer bulb. It's at the part shop up you know, our local Exmark dealer. So I'm signing off for now. And when that part comes in, I'll pop the camera back on and we will lay this one to rest. Okay guys, it's a couple days later. Our part is here. I can already see the meat. Holy cow, looks like that's used. Oh, whatever. So if you can see, you know, that part right there, obviously there's a lot of beef on that one, and that one there is literally none, except for a little bit on that side. So that is a million times better. Let's get that put on there. There's a part that broke too, a little plastic piece that goes on this, this kill copper or whatever that is. So I will have to make sure that that is okay before we go any further. I think I might have to put that on first. I'm just gonna mess with this for a second. Okay, let's get that tightened down. I'm sure there's a spec for it, but I don't have it. So I don't know how well that's showing up, but we have a lot more spring, a lot more motion. So let me focus on that arm right there. This is what, this cable is what pulls it back. So obviously now before it wanted to move like, I don't know, half a centimeter. Now it wants to move completely off. And so now we can have this thing be, you know, influenced by, you know, that kill option, right? Gosh, I'm really fumbling my words right now, but hopefully that makes sense. So we're all good. We're really all good. Focus your attention right on that little tip. If you can see, it's grounded and it's pretty, this thing is kind of wedging the copper thing up. So when I pull that back via the lever, they are not touching. And then that's what allows spark. And then when you let off, that's what grounds and it kills the engine. So I am going to get everything put back on here. Oh, you know what I do have also? I did grab a, where's that? I did grab a primer bulb for the front. See, the other one was cracked. It's actually $9, which is crazy. That brake piece was $15 and this was $9, so we'll say $25 in parts, $150 for the machine. Let me get all that shroud stuff back on and we'll fire it up. All right, all back together. Let's go. Okay, so we have a little bit of a deeper issue than I anticipated. It's just getting starved. Something's happening with the fuel at some point. So, and I'm gonna jump to two things. After it, you know, heats up, it starts to die. It just kind of like slowly, you know, kicks out. I don't think it has anything to do with that, that float, just because that seems to be running just fine. And then all of a sudden, you know, that happens. So I think I have another spark plug for that. I'm gonna try that, but first I'm gonna, since I have it, I'm gonna get that primer bulb situation fixed. Just some kind of air leak. There's just not a vacuum leak. There's just some kind of, you know, fuel system being, the fuel system is being compromised. That's what I was looking for. So the primer bulb before, it just felt like there was a lot of air getting in there. So let me, sounds different, it feels the same. Here's my conclusion of two other things it could be. So number one is that float is getting stuck. So I notice the times when I start to die down is when I'm hitting a few bumps here and there in the backyard. That obviously does not have to do with the spark plug, although it doesn't hurt to check and change the spark plug just as regular maintenance, like regardless of what's happening. I believe it is something to do with that float. I will pull that carb off, maybe just kind of give like a really quick run through, you know, speed up version of it, Cliff Note version, and then hopefully that solves our issue. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't.
This is dumbfounding me. What is this? Well, I'm gonna try to get it out from under there first. Get that bowl off. And this is one design flaw, unless I am missing something extremely major. This is not real life. Why is that like that? Why, Kawasaki, I have questions. Why is that like that? Why are you doing this? I can't get both of my hands on it. I can only get this wrench like a half of a turn at a time. And because it's unthreading, I'm really running out of room down there. This is quite the interesting design. So now that's out. So what in the heck is this? Seriously, what is this? All right, that is just the worst, Kawasaki. I have questions and I demand answers. That is extremely stupid. Let me get this up on the bench and I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you see, there's like that white, right at the tip of my finger, there's like some like white varnish or something. I don't really know exactly what that is. And then there was some rust spots, those 1, 2, 3. I don't know what that is. So that's thing one. And you see on there, on the pickup tube, there's just some crap. I don't know what that is. I'm just looking at this jet right here too. Right in the middle of that brass jet. See, there's a hole in there, but the hole favors that side. It's almost like this thing is like shifted this way a little bit. I'm gonna take that off and see what that's all about. See what's going on with that, because that does not look normal. So this is the piece removed from it. Remember how it was like favoring half of the hole? So I'm starting to think that in there, see how it's still favoring half the hole? I'm starting to think that I just pushed it all the way in. Let's push it out. Now it is favoring none of the hole because that was just a whole bunch of clog. I don't even know what that is, that varnish, but that would definitely make it stop running after some time. All right, let's struggle our way to get this thing back on there. Again, just a dumbfounding design. Well, they did give you a little dip in there to, struggle through. I'm sure Kawasaki makes a special tool, I know. This is the really dumb thing too. There's a washer that sits on the inside of the bowl. So I can't even I suppose I could start it. I guess that's the only way, is I have to start it and then I have to work backwards. Oh, this is foolish. There's literally no way to do it. There's no way to do it. Somebody needs to lose their job at Kawasaki. It's like it's easier to pull the engine up. That is insane to me. So I know you might be asking yourself, Chris, are you taking the engine off to get the carb back on? And the answer is yes. Yes, I am. It's not that big a deal just to flip it up and take a couple bolts off if that's what you're thinking. But to take the carb off, like I physically can't get the carburetor up unless I peel the engine up a little bit. Just in general, that as a manufacturing practice is very flawed. Let me get that blade sharpened up. Okay, nice and sharp. Okay, 15th time's the charm. Let's see how it does now. this kicked my butt, but you know, just don't give up. Just never give up. I've never worked on this particular engine before. I am not an expert by any means, but hopefully this video encourages you to you know, take a look at something that you're not necessarily familiar with, and you know, just learn about it, acclimate yourself, figure it out. You know, you'll get it. You're smart enough, I promise. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate all the interactions that you guys have with me in this channel. If there's anything you'd like me to try to find or to try to work on that would be interesting to you, let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to know what you guys thought. And if you are into content like this, consider subscribing to the channel. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I've really been trying my hardest to evolve and to change and adapt and grow and try new things on this channel. So if you've been a part of that journey, thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right, until the next one, guys. Later.